number of deaths.
Then you are home.
The Valley's News Talk and Podcast. Talk
Central.
Central Phoenix.
And now, back to more of the Chips and Salsa show.
Which of the Latin countries are you from? The one with the Civil War, the one with the cocaine, or the one with the fancy hats?
And we are, can you believe how fast this show is going? This is the Chips and Salsa Show. I'm Alice Latta with my co-host, fill in.
Oh, Reverend Clyde Bowen, and things go so well when you're having fun.
That's right. You know it's a good show because moving fast. Last segment, we had Kelly Cooper is running for Congressional District Number 4. He's staying in the studio with us. You don't maybe see him because the camera's focused on us, but if you hear another voice, that's him. Well, we wanted to have you on. Originally, I invited you, Rev, Clyde Bowen.
Yes.
Is to talk about Black History Month. Black History Month's almost over, and we just haven't given it enough attention. And I thought, what better person to have on the show to talk about this? And you know, I'm not going to say how old you are, but you've experienced a lot of Black history yourself.
Actually, I have. I've been blessed, I would say, to have this opportunity to share with you about my life and my life around Black history. If I had anything on my tombstone that I would want, it would probably say first, because I've always been and was trained to be the first. And so because of that, I always got the best and the worst. I was the firstborn male of my generation. I went to good schools and then turned around and got expelled from every school in the state of Massachusetts. I went into the service. I immediately got stabbed, and a year later I scored 95 out of 100 on my police test. And so I learned throughout I had a superpower. And I'm going to use some words right now. If you've ever heard these words swirling around, you can imagine my day. Wop, guinea, nigger, spick, dago, beaner, all of these words I grew up with swirling around me in Boston. My superpower was that my parents never, ever allowed us to be racist. We were not allowed. So I grew up without that gene, and it helped me. And it helped me when I went to Norway as the first black person, accidentally, because they thought I was white, and my record was so good. And when they found out I wasn't, the man said to me, "Well, look at your passport. You're not black." I know. He said, "You're not." He said, "You're not white." And I said, "You're telling me?" And so that started Guess Who's Coming to Smorgasbord. And I can guarantee you, if you're in a country like Norway in the 60s, 2 years after Martin Luther King got his Nobel Peace Prize, and you're the only brother, and there are 10 people who come only 6 months of the year. I got there in January. I saw another person who looked like me in July. But because of my mother and how she raised me, I've always been comfortable around all sorts of people. I had to raise my cousins. I had to raise everybody else's cousins, it seemed. I took care of white kids, all kinds of kids. But we were never taught to say words to the Irish kid or this, that. My only friend in the 7th grade was a white Irish kid. My only friend in the 8th grade was a white Latvian kid who came from Latvia. I didn't know what Latvia was, except he liked me and I liked him, and we were in this school. So throughout my life, it has turned out that I've had the opportunity to be the first, because when people looked at me and looked at my record, I guess it said, works well with people. Because I've always been, I was first SWAT team leader in California at March Air Force Base. I led a SWAT team, first black person. I was in charge of $1 billion building in March Air Force Base. I had the security team. So when I went to Oslo, it was really funny. Like I said, when I arrived, it was Guess Who's Coming to Smorgasbord. So Black History Month is very, very important because I think it's American history. And American history is important. I hear this conversation about CRT, critical race theory. I don't know about that at my age. What I do know about is critical truth theory. And that's what I've always represented. And I think that's why Black History Month is important. We need to know the truth. We don't know the past. We're doomed to repeat it in the future.
And we don't have, really, you know, you need to come back like for another hour sometime, and we can spend the whole hour talking more about this. And maybe you'll have a podcast soon, who knows. But tell the people out there, there's so many things that they want to rewrite and redo. And some of them, I'm old enough to have lived through a few things. But what is something that you think is the biggest lie they're trying to push these days?
That God hangs on the wall and he's not in us. To me, that's
point.
that. I mean, I just saw it on Newsfeed the other day, and I preached it because when I became, I got the calling and I was ordained. I never thought in terms of God hanging on the wall or, like you said, taking out of schools. That's very, very important to have those symbols, perhaps. But I think the most important symbol is to realize that God and Jesus is inside of us. He's inside of us, and that's where you need to go and look. And yes, while we fight the good fight, we might want to follow the teachings of Jesus, because like I said on Facebook, what good does it do to hang it up in the corner if you don't understand what it's all about and you don't do a doggone thing? In closing, I'll say that bearing false witness, off the charts. Honoring your mother and father, crime, crime, crime. Coveting your neighbor's property, off the charts, crime. Covering your neighbor's ass, and I'm not talking about donkeys. So, as a religious person, I'm just saying that we need to get back to God. Number one.
I think
and that's who we are.
That is the best and the greatest message. And what I want to know is, because you did use the N-word, I wonder if they cut us off already. You know, and it wasn't that long ago. I mean, what you're saying here, you have a theme of that I grew up with. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I never could understand. And the left has been so victorious in promoting that. You know, we're so sensitive about words.
Well, we're back to separatism, too, and we're back to kind of staying in our lanes. And I told people, I said, I became an American, and I decided to make ARC American first because I thought I've never been to Africa. I missed my opportunity when I went to the Canary Islands and slept in, so I was going to be able to go from there to Africa. I thought, I'll step forward on Africa. That didn't happen. But in the event, I'm going to say that we just need to look at who we are, get back to who we are, and understand where we're going, and bringing us together. And this idea about I can't eat chips and salsa anymore because it's cultural appropriation, or I can't do this.
That'll never happen with me.
Justin Timberlake can be as black as he wants to be, but Rachel Dolans can't say, well, I choose to be a sister. So, you're always talking about freedom, but I'm seeing people staying in their lane, and for the first time, Martin Luther King Day, to me, went back to being a black holiday, and that's why we're not talking about it as much. When it first came out, I told people, this will never be a holiday until we get a tire sale. I said, what do you mean? I said, until we start selling something, nobody gives a darn. And then they would say to me, oh, Clyde, congratulations on your holiday. I said, what you mean? Martin Luther King? I said, well, he's celebrated and recognized all over the world. I said, I was in Norway, he got his thing. And here in Arizona, we were still fighting over this guy, right? So we need to understand who these leaders are, who he is. He got all his information from Abraham Lincoln. I Have a Dream is a continuation of Emancipation Proclamation. As you know, we do that because of that reason, because we like to connect the dots. If you connect the dots, you come out with America. Not you stay in your lane, you stay in your lane. We're Americans. We can choose to do anything we want to be. We can choose to be anything we want to be. And that's why we're a wonderful country.
Very well said. We're going to have to wrap it up for this edition of the show. Reverend Clyde Bowen, thank you so much for being here today.
Hey, thank you.
It's been awesome. I'm Alice Lara. Thank you, Kelly Cooper, for joining us today, too, Congressional District Number 4 candidate. And we hope, Chipsters, that you'll be with us next Tuesday here on Central City Radio Talk Central Phoenix at 4 p.m. for the Chips and Salsa Show. Until then, I'm Alice Lara signing off. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
And Reverend Clyde Bowen, thank you so much.
When you need to know, this is Talk Central.